Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we got ourselves a track by an ex named Kklip titled Never Going Back. And if we switch over to here, we have quite a few people involved. We got production by Kklip with Griff, Eshnab and Nyukyung. And Nyukyung? Not quite sure how to pronounce that, but hopefully I wasn't too far off. So there's a few people involved with Never Going Back, but that's fine. I've had the pleasure of working with Kklip before with a bit of their material. And I do typically enjoy myself. I'm sure this will be no different, but obviously we're going to find out. We're going to listen through this track from start to finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. Let's put the album out here for a little bit.
Trying to change me, but they can't, cause I ain't taking it. Don't need to sign a deal to feel like I am making it. I took her hard, and of course I feel bad for breaking it. I don't know how to say it, but I love her, I ain't over it. And I wish I could take it all back like this. In my head, thinking about her past time with you if I could, but I can never go back. No, I can never go back. And no.
I'm glad that, sorry to interrupt, because there's quite a few people involved, and I'm sure there's not going to be a lot of filler in this. Just because of the time, the form factor as well. It's less than 3 minutes to have this many featured artists. You know, it's a really good effort. Quite honestly, well done. I'm liking that kind of music boxy, synthy, misty, reverb laden atmosphere here. As I was wondering when the bass was going to come in with those kicks, and I was thinking, wow, that low end is kind of missing for a bit, but a hot minute. But it came back, obviously, as you can hear, and I'm just glad we had that. That clarification there, but also it was kind of nice not to have a focus in that low end. You know, the filtering on the vocalist in that first section there had that mid to high resonance, so it made sense for everything to be floating on top. It's nice to get that balance later on.
Oh, sorry to say I can never go back. She was probably the one we would've had fun, but now it's too late, I will never know that. I played my hand, you was like stay then. She's telling me never hold back, and so I do what you said, but it wasn't real. I'm still in your head, you still in my bed, we still at a crossroad, and you know when we lost. Going so cold that you frost and sleep till you show no remorse, but you know when this road isn't halt. Sit often, sit in the darkness, choking. I'm steady thinking where we're at, and what can I do, and what does it take for getting you back? Yeah. Trying to change me, but they can't, cause I ain't taking it. Don't need to sign a deal to feel like I am making it. I took her hard, and of course I feel bad for breaking it. I don't know how to say it, but I love her, I ain't over it.
Dope. You know, I'm happy with this. They got a good thing going. The production is professional. It's nice to have the vocalist panned in the middle and also on the sides. I mean, I know panned in the middle doesn't make sense. No, it does make sense, because you can have the pan sitting in the center. Yeah, that's totally fine. There's a crispness to the overall tonality of it. The story is easy to follow. Digging it so far. And the way that the bass slowly comes in and doesn't overstay its welcome, you know?
All these moments, know you were chosen, tired of wishing and hoping, yeah, you were the one, no, I was so dumb, but I could never.
The vocals do feel a little bit present in this part, though. I'm wondering if they're a little bit louder than the rest of the elements of the mix. I'm wondering,
Get over it. It was just you and me. Heartbreak, I want to take the lead. Every time you out here to speak, I'm pissed off, got me feeling weak. Pissed off at the fact that
it's very loud. Like, I was thinking, wow, do I have my headphones turned up from the stuff I was listening to before? Nope, it's at the level where usually it'd be like, yeah, this is comfortable, but I obviously had Red Room. This is pretty heavily compressed and limited, and for this genre of music, it makes sense.
be all that we could see. It was a dream, like straight out the scene. I'm making it up, these are Maybelline. Why we break up just to make up? I don't play around with my station. You either have me or you don't. And I want to hear you say I lack patience.
Trying to change me, but they can't.
That was interesting that we had that pause there. Not sure if that was intentional or not.
I ain't taking it. Don't need to sign a deal to feel like I am making it. I took her hard, and of course I feel bad for breaking it. I don't know how to say it, but I love her, I ain't over it. And I wish I could take it all back like this.
This part here feels a lot more polished than what we had previously. Again, it's not necessarily a mark on the vocal performance or anything like that. It's just that you can hear the kick cutting into the mix a little bit more neatly with this one, whereas before the kick kind of feels like it was drowned out by what was happening in the middle of the stereo field. Even if it's like a kick 808 thing, you know what I mean?
No, I can never go back.
Oh, those are guitar parts or like strings or something like that with some natural harmonics. They're really pretty. I like that. Like there's some synthy pad parts going on with the string or the synth parts. And yeah, the drums and the bass. And that theme continues. And I like how we don't just have everything the whole time. As I mentioned at the start, we didn't really have the kick and bass at the beginning of the track for the first part of that verse. And it just allowed for a development there and continued interest. And it just stops. Never going back. Production by Kklip featuring Griff, Eshnab and Nyukyung. This is my conclusion of Never Going Back. How do I feel about it? How do I feel about this? I mean, the story, I think it was about, you know, obviously never going back, looking back at what you've done previously, analyzing and accepting maybe the mistakes that you've made, and recommitting to moving forward and continuing to improve and make gains and stuff like that. And that's basically what it's like. There was complexity to it. As we know, overall, it was nice to have the different angles from the different musicians, but overall, I think that's the main theme there. And each of the rappers, they had a similar style of approach with how they were rapping. I think they're all very kind of... I'll put the album up here so you guys can see it. Actually, you guys can't really see it because my head's in the way. I did like the fact that they're confident with what they're doing with this style of music, and it does work. It's that kind of contemporary hip-hop rap tone, and with those triplets and everything like that. And the words came through clearly. They clearly had been practicing beforehand and were confident that they knew exactly what they needed to do in that moment, and yeah, effectively it was an authentic performance. I'm not sure if this is something that they've necessarily done a lot of in the past, but I think that with a story like this and the way they were rapping, you could probably apply it to a lot of different topics. So that allows them flexibility with the way that they approach further collaborations. The structuring of the track there, you know, I think you had that kind of ABAB structure there. That's so common in a lot of tracks nowadays, and that contemporary structure is fine. You know, you get enough change to keep you interested. It wouldn't necessarily work for 4 or 5 minutes, but we've got a 3-minute track here, so it's good. I think additional to that, we had that one main musical theme there with the synth strings and the pads and the bass and the kick and the harmonics there, whether that was guitar or something like that or a music box. I'm not sure. It was an interesting instrument anyways. The arrangement there and the accompaniment was pretty. And it was almost nostalgic for a time when things used to be, but it was also like a dream sequence, like we're dreaming about it, but we can never go back to that. So well done on that front. The recording, mixing, and mastering was sensational, considering, or should I say sensational? I think for the most part, it was really, really good. There were times where I felt like maybe the vocals were a little bit too present. I have to pay attention, obviously, what I say here, because I want to be really positive about it, because, again, I know what they were trying to do here, and in regards to what I've heard from the genre, there's a lot of promise. I just think maybe for future releases, it's just worth double checking in the mono output of the stereo field, and I know that's stuff that it's probably been shoved down these guys' throats before to check that kind of thing, but if you check the instruments in the mono as opposed to stereo, you'll get a good grip on what is happening with all those instruments relative to each other in one position of stereo field, which will therefore help to adjust levels accordingly. It could just be that we didn't have the same filter on one of the vocal parts, so therefore we maybe we just didn't have the same oomph from the drums, but the vocals in that mid-verse did sound quite present in regards to everything else. But aside from that, it was great. Again, if they continue to work at it, I'm sure that they'll be just continuing to go up and up and up. And that's the aim at the end of the day, you know? The limited compression, it was really loud. It was really loud. I don't know what LUFS they're outputting at. I don't know what SoundCloud is okay with. It was really loud. So if that's the vibe they were going for, it's great. I mean, I can see here, you know, that the waveform has range. You can see the waveform has range there, but it was that perceived loudness there. That is testament to the mixing and mastering, though, I suppose, to have that perceived loudness like that. So well done for getting that oomph out of it like they did. And that's effectively my review of this track, Never Going Back, from Kklip. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go and show Kklip via their various social medias and their SoundCloud page. Stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as either help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.